What's going on, Average Joes? I'm here to do the no disclaimers book tag. This tag's been floating around a lot lately, and I thought it might be a little bit fun. A lot of people have a lot of fun rant videos, rant answers, and it's just kind of cool to maybe get little things off your chest in a tag format and not have to justify it at all. It's basically what this is. Think of it as no justification for your hot takes in a way. So first, please like and subscribe if you haven't already. Of course, that whole rigmarole. I'll try and link to a few of the videos, a few of the ones that I saw of the no disclaimer tag below for ones that have done it. And tagging can be a bit ambiguous. I don't plan on tagging anybody in this specifically. I usually don't, but if you want to do it and you're seeing this, you want to do it, go ahead, do it. I'll try and put the prompts down below as well. So first off, number one, tropes that annoy me. Typically, they're romance in general, or like the love triangle type thing. Love triangles are dumb. I don't think the love triangles even exist in real life. It's very rare. Like, think of it, you personally, have you ever been involved in a love triangle? And I'm not saying like you like somebody and then somebody likes you. That's not a love triangle. It's you're actively pursuing two people, or two people are pursuing you, and you're just letting them. Like, if you actually are stuck in those situations, you don't curb it soon, then you're just a terrible person. But actual love triangles in real life, typically you know which person you're going to like more, and then you pursue them, and then that's that. You typically choose early on, you know which one you're going to like, and that's that. It's not going to be strung along for an entire story, hemming and hawing of which one you might want to date or anything like that, pulling somebody along, keeping them on the hook. Love triangles are annoying, they're dumb. I'm glad to see that in a lot of books that I'm reading now, maybe it's just because I'm reading adult fantasy as well. Um, Love triangles are kind of being phased out because they're not really real, but they're still prevalent in some. And then the next one, goes for books, this goes for TV shows, especially, and that is cheating for drama. And that is somebody cheating, a cheater cheating on in a relationship. They specifically have them cheating just for drama. So it's like you're reading a story or watching a movie or a book. They're going along. The protagonist, the main person, is in love with somebody, but they're in a relationship, and then they're going along, and then all of a sudden, the person they're in a relationship with cheats on them. That's like, oh my god, they're a terrible person. We broke up, and then now I can be with them. That's cheap. That's dumb. It's not. It's no. They're cheating for drama is lame. Or if anytime there's a relationship and somebody needs to break up, the writer is just like, well, I could just have them cheat and then we'll be good. We need to have them a reason to break up anyway. People can just break up for normal reasons that they're not meant to be together. That's fine. People don't need to just arbitrarily cheat and just throwing cheaters around for drama. It happens mostly in shows, but in books, I know it happens some too. Name an overrated writer. I don't think writers are overrated in general. I don't have one that would be overrated. I think if you put out multiple books and you have fans and people like your books, that doesn't make you overrated. And I think if you don't like a certain author's writing or writing style, that doesn't make them overrated. That just means you don't like their style, because writing is super subjective. Reading books, super subjective. There are multiple writers that I do not like. I have not liked their books. I have either DNF their books or hate finished them because I just wanted to finish it, but I just don't like their style. And I'm almost in the minority of those writers because so many other people like them. And yeah, I understand that, but that doesn't make them overrated. So overhyped, that would be a completely different thing. There are some writers, some series that are completely overhyped, but again, it's just going to be come down to me. So I don't have anybody that I'm going to name for this because it's just going to be really, I'm just going to be saying writers that I don't like. I don't feel that they're overrated. It was just writers that I don't like, and that's not the prompt. So I don't really have anything for that. I'm not that in tune with writers and uh, reading for too long to know that many overhyped writers. Anyway, it's just some are hits, some are misses. It happens. What was my least favorite book so far while being on booktube? Well, I've only been on booktube for like 4 months, so not even this year. So basically, my worst read this year, and it's going to be The Man in the High Castle. That book does not have a plot. The characters don't really do much. It's just kind of a glimpse into this hypothetical world. Not much happens. It's just not much is explained very well. You need to I had to Google it or ask some people questions of what the hell he's talking about for these things that are being used that have no explanation. Yeah, like I said, there's no plot. If you like hypotheticals and theoreticals and that's it, you just want to picture an alternate history or future, whatever, then I guess you can read this and debate about with people, but that's all it is. The book itself isn't very good. It's just the debating and talking about these what if scenarios that happens from it. But again, that's just me. Terrible ending that ruined a book for you. This happens a lot in thrillers, and I haven't come out with my thrillers versus mystery uh, video yet. I want to come out with one debating the differences and kind of a continuum, but thrillers especially are like this because typically with thrillers, the narrator or the protagonist is extremely flawed. And a lot of times the drama is derived from what the protagonist is doing, saying, thinking. And then by the end of the book, you're just like, really? That's it? Like it could have been ended so much earlier if they just didn't lie all the time. If there wasn't like a really, really bad, unreliable narrator. Those are two of the ones that are really, really can ruin books for me. Um, so a lot of thrillers can be that way, and that's like the thrilling part of like, oh, I wonder how they got here, and it's like, oh, this is all the reason because this is just a terrible person, and that was it. So a lot of thrillers for sure for that reason. Off the top of my head, there was Turn of the Key. The Murder of Roger Ackroyd was it just kind of left a sour taste in my mouth. There was another one, something about and then she was gone or something like that. Some of those terrible. Uh, Out was a mystery thriller or a thriller that I mentioned recently that it was good for the most way, but the last couple of chapters absolutely terrible. If you go on any sort of forum or reviews thing online, like Goodreads or whatever, you'll know a lot of people hate the ending of that and wonder why the heck it ended the way it did. Huh. Kind of hot takey. This isn't like saying it has a bad ending, but there was sequences in the ending of this book that I really didn't like and was just like, what the hell? And that's Dune. A couple things happened in the Dune ending that I was just like, why this is okay. Yeah. And then a couple of Stephen King books. Another thing that kind of is a pet peeve of mine is ambiguous open endings. Look, give me an ending. Tell me what the hell's going to happen. At least give me some sort of stopping point. You can leave a little bit up to question, but it's a very Sopranos like ending. It feels like there's two or three chapters missing for a couple of books, and I just hate that. So that leaves a sour taste in my mouth with a book. I'll probably, if it's a 5-star read up until that point, I'll probably knock off a star because of that, because I don't want to have to sit here and debate and think about what an ending could be. You're supposed to tell me the ending. Fictional characters you wish weren't killed off, or whatever this one is for killing off a character, which nobody's going to name in this prompt. So I am turning this into something else, which a lot of people else are as well. And I'm just going to say a book that has a death that I did not like. Whether it's, I don't mind the killing of them, the fact that they died, it's how the death happened for a big time character or somewhat big time or just a decent character. It felt cheap. It felt rushed. It felt out of kind of, I mean, not out of the blue deaths or whatever, but it just didn't feel like the right death. And the whole situation of that death was also kind of eyebrow raising and stupid to me anyway. And that's Wrath, book 4 in Faithful and the Fallen. Obviously, I'm not going to say who it is. All kinds of deaths happen, so it's not like I'm spoiling anything. You have no idea who I'm talking about. But Wrath, there's a death in the end of the book that, or in the final book that I just did not like at all. Number 6, bookish pet peeves. Number 1, big time, are stupid long chapters. Really, really long chapters. And I mostly only care about this with Kindle books because I have that. I have it all. I always have it on, minutes left in chapter, and I read Kindle books before I go to bed. So typically, I have like an hour, hour and a half, or probably an hour in bed reading. And if I have a chapter that I get to that's like 40, 50 minutes, I might be like, well, what the hell? I want to go to bed in 20. So I'm not even going to read this chapter. I'm not going to stop in the middle of a chapter. I hate stopping in the middle of a chapter. So smaller chapters, please. And one thing that I like that some authors do, like Stephen King, they have like technically huge chapters, but there's breaks within the chapters. So there's actually good stopping points within the chapters. There's nothing wrong with breaking up chapters into smaller chunks. There's so many books that I've read that will have a chapter, and within that chapter it'll be super long, but there will be 3 different povs in that chapter. Like, yes, it might be taking place during the same time, same setting, however you want to organize your chapters, but these could all be different chapters. Like, break these up more. There's even those times where there's those line breaks within a chapter. It's like that could be a chapter break right there. make that a chapter break. Smaller chapters are much easier to be like, oh, well, I'll just read one more chapter. Oh, I'll just read one more chapter. And that's what's great about The Faithful and the Fallen, because it's always that small chapter. Oh, I can just read one more. Versus if I have a long chapter coming up and I want to roll over to sleep in 15 minutes, 20 minutes, I might not pick it up. I might just play on my phone instead. So smaller chapters or long chapters are the pet peeve. And I mentioned this in the thriller terrible ending part. Lying for a plot device or a super bad unreliable narrator. Like, I understand having an unreliable narrator to a certain extent as a device, but lying just for the plot is terrible. I guess this would also be a miscommunication trope, something like that. But lying in general, I just find exhausting. Books that need more recognition. I've talked about Kings of Paradise and Ash and Sand a whole ton, so I'm not going to say that one too much. The new Threadlight series, or I believe it's a trilogy by Zach Argyle. I just finished book 2. I have a review on the first book. That one, the second book, really stepped up and is fantastic. Never Die and Pawn's Gambit by Rob J. Hayes. Those are part of the Mortal Techniques saga, and there's a third one coming out maybe later this year or beginning of next year. I don't know which one, but he's still writing those, and they are fantastic. The plot twists at the end are fantastic. And all of those 3 books are on Kindle Unlimited, of course. Last one, last prompt, number 8, is about censorship and book banning. Do I feel books should be banned, censored? Absolutely not. I think this whole cancel culture and hiding things that are sensitive to people that might offend people or that aren't right is just terrible. It's a terrible premise. It's not going to do anybody any good. That's just encroaching on speech and writing and all of those sorts of creative freedoms out there. If you were to think back, probably 200 years or so, even longer, there was probably people that tried to write about and investigate, things, science stuff, which back in the day, when everything seemed to be heavily religious based and not on science, could be blasphemous and get their works burned. And there might have been like scientific advances way early on, hundreds of years ago, that got burned and banned because it hurt people's feelings because it went against the norm. So something like that is just an example of why it is bad. Look, if you don't like it, don't read it. If you don't want to be around it, don't be around it. That's your problem. If it hurts your feelings or if it's not good for you, or if people want to learn about different things, that's fine. There's all kinds of issues with education and censoring certain education, which I think is just terrible, and people get offended by censoring certain things, and let people learn, let people read what they want. I think the whole banning and censorship is just terrible in general, and that goes past reading. you know uh, it seems a default now when it's not agreed with in the large run that it should be automatically be banned and gotten rid of and covered up in case it hurts anybody's feelings, and it's just terrible. Now, if something is like criminally deliberately offensive or um, slanderous or anything like that to a certain degree, like a malicious degree, then yeah, sure, that's a different matter. That when it actually can be legal um, problems, then that's a different matter. But for actual creative freedom is completely different, I think. Just let people live their lives, honestly. It's not hurting you. If it's not hurting you, then don't worry about it. If it is hurting you, then just avoid it. So that's all I got for the no disclaimers tag. I tried to run through it pretty quick and not hem and haw too much because there's not supposed to be any disclaimers. So if you like this, let me know what you think about some of my answers. If there's anything hot takey, if you have any questions about my answers, let me know. Also, I've neglected to mention this in a few videos. That is, I have an Amazon Kindle Unlimited list in my description. It is not to like buy me books or hey, send me books or anything like that. I am simply just sharing a Kindle Unlimited book list that I have that I keep tabs on, adding to the list of books that come up on Kindle Unlimited that I want to read, that sound interesting, that I think would be good to read. So if you're looking for those books, go there. A lot of them are self-published, or either way, they're on Kindle Unlimited. And if you need those recommendations, go ahead and check them out. They're just there for you to look at and you to read on your own, not to give me anything. That's why that link is there, just for clarification. But let me know what you think about everything, and we'll chat more in the comments.